Hey there, guys, and welcome to another week of World War II. On to number 76, February 8th, 1941. Rommel to fix the bungle in Benghazi. Don't know how he's going to do. Well, I actually kind of know how he's going to do that. He's going to go ahead and overextend his supply lines. Let's dive in.
Sí. Sí. No, no. 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 We lost Barba Electrica. Catastrophe.
Is he trying to be Italian or French? Pizzeria!
February 8th, 1941. Sometimes in life you have to take a chance. Sometimes in war, too. And a big gamble can make a huge success or a calamitous failure. This week, Britain gambles.
What are we gambling on? How much? What are we betting?
I'm Andy Nidell. This is World War II.
Andy.
Last week in Asia,
Pride.
French Indochina and Thailand signed a ceasefire, while in Europe, Greek leader Ioannis Metaxas died,
Yay.
which will of course have repercussions for the Italo-Greek War. In the field, Japanese attacks continued in Henan province in China, but the main military news was the advances of British and Commonwealth forces against the Italians in both North and East Africa. Those advances continue this week. On the 2nd, Barentu falls to the 5th Indian Division. It's fairly heavily defended by 8,000 troops with nearly 3 dozen big guns. But once the British cut them off from Agordat and the main road, the defenders flee eastward on the mountain tracks towards the Asmara-Adowa highway. So the British haul from the past couple weeks in Eritrea is 6,000 men, 80 guns, 26 tanks, and 500 trucks. However, even with the enemy in full flight, Eritrea does not collapse because the pursuing British find the Mussolini Bridge over the dry Baraka riverbed blown apart and the banks laden with mines. The many hours spent removing the mines means the British will have to fight the Battle of Keren in the mountains where the Italians only just managed to rush their final reserves in the region from Addis Ababa. While the British are clearing the Baraka mines, the Italians blow down 200 meters of cliff to make a defense described as a great medieval castle whose portcullis has fallen down and drawbridge has been lugged up at the last moment in the face of the triumphant enemy. That enemy sure tries to get up there this week, and on the 4th, a Punjabi detachment even holds Briggs Peak, the crown, for a few hours, but it is no go, and the Italians hold throughout the week. Further south, the African divisions continue their advance from last week, taking Beles Gugami the 4th. As for what's going on northwest in Cyrenaica, and Richard O'Connor's clever but risky plan of attack, about which I went into detail last week, well, that plan to send units racing across the desert to outflank the retreating Italians is scheduled to begin around the 10th. However, on the 2nd, as the week begins, he learns that the Italians are not going to make a stand in the Jebel or at Benghazi and will retreat along the coast 2 points beyond. He realizes he cannot wait for more tanks or supplies or his plan is doomed and orders Michael O'More Cray to head southwest from Mekili and just keep plowing ahead through the desert until he either cuts off the Italians or his division, the 7th Armored, the Desert Rats, falls apart in the desert. The advance is to begin the 4th, and it'll be followed with a supply convoy for 2 days. But after that, they're on their own. Soon they go, and they make good time across the open desert, a region of which they hadn't even done any recon over to maintain secrecy, and by the 5th, most of the division is near Massus. At this point, another group enters the picture, the Combe Force. This is a motorized unit under Colonel J.F. Combe sent by Cray from Massus to cut the coast road southwest of Antalat, right? So already by the afternoon of the 5th, Combe Force is established on the coast road and engaged.
Damn, they fucking made it. Good job, Britain. God damn.
The retreating Italians. The 4th Armored Brigade soon reaches the coast road further north near Beta Foam and joins the fray. The Italians spend a couple days unsuccessfully trying to break these 2 roadblocks. Meanwhile, the 6th Australian Division has marched along the coast, and the Italians are being crushed between them and the 7th Armored that has moved up further north. Benghazi falls the 6th.
Let's go.
South of Benghazi, the Italians are way superior in numbers, and Had they managed a well-planned attack against the small and weary 7th Armored, it likely would have succeeded, but the only attacks they make are small and scattered and are driven back. On the 7th, the Italians begin to surrender at Beta Foam. By this time, the 7th Armored is down to just 24 serviceable tanks, but the advance units of the Australians are only 2 hours away. The Battle of Beta Foam marked the end of the Italian 10th Army, and 13 Corps counted 25,000 prisoners, 100 medium tanks, and 100...
Man, whoever designed this, great job. 10 out of 10. I love this. Love the aesthetic. I love the clear, like, very clear messaging. Like, it's clear to understand, super easy, doesn't take long to just look at it and know what you're seeing. Great.
Guns captured or destroyed. They also, finally, captured Electric Whiskers himself, General Annibale Bergonzoli. David Braddock,
well, yay, but also no, because I love his nickname.
Points out that the Italians should have realized the danger they were in and that a desert dash was on the cards when the 11th Hussars arrived at Massus already the 4th. But hindsight is easy, and you have to think the British ran an enormous risk with the race across the desert, which turned out to be excellent judgment. Any threat to Egypt looks like it's been removed. O'Connor signaled Archie Wavell in overall theater command this week uncoded to piss off Benito Mussolini. Fox killed in the open. 10 Italian divisions have been destroyed in 2 months. The British have advanced...
Ooh, I hope they do this this graphic here for future offensives.
Nearly 650 kilometers and taken 150,000 prisoners.
Oh, and I love how they designed the POWs with the Italian flag. Love it. This is good.
Prisoners in 2 months for 500 dead and 1,400 wounded.
Damn, Britain. Okay. That's... Damn.
However, much of the British vehicle force is now in a dire need of repairs. But the victory, though spectacular, was not really one of modern warfare. The Army of the Nile was little more than the sort of colonial movable column with which the British Empire's native enemies had been defeated in the campaigns of the 19th century. Its success was not due to its superiority over the Italian troops, who had fought bravely in defense, but to the incompetence of their leadership, and, as in Greece, the attenuation of their means of making war, the result of Mussolini's appetite for campaigning over a wider front than Italy's resources could support. And you know, Adolf Hitler had offered German support months ago, but Mussolini had turned it down. Hitler complained to his staff. The crazy feature is that, on the one hand, the Italians are shrieking for help and cannot find drastic enough language to describe their poor guns and equipment. But on the other hand, they're so jealous and childish, they won't stand for being helped by German soldiers. On the 6th, the day Benghazi falls, Erwin Rommel, who Hitler has chosen to lead the forces being sent to North Africa, meets Hitler in Berlin. Hitler tells him that all mechanized German units in Libya are his to command. His task is to hold Tripolitania. The British must not break through to Tunisia. Rommel writes that night, "My head reels from all that can go wrong. It will be months before things take effect." Hitler has something else going on in a few months, though, that he's really looking forward to. His offensive against the USSR. On the 2nd, the...
Oh yeah, isn't that coming up pretty soon? Is it like in the spring that he launches it? I can't remember.
War Council discusses a report by Franz Halder that estimates the Soviets will have 211 divisions to fight against...
If you guys have read ahead in the, watched ahead in the World War II series, don't spoil it for me. Don't tell me when the USSR gets invaded.
It's the 190 German and Axis ones. This, Halder said, gave the Soviet Union a substantial numerical superiority, but not the technical or strategic advantage needed. In discussing these factors with Hitler on February 3rd, both Halder and von Brauchitsch found themselves confronted by the Führer's skepticism about the Russian manpower. Soviet rule was so hated, Hitler argued, particularly by the younger Russians, that Russia itself would crumble under the weight of the first victorious German attack. Halder has concerns with regard to Soviet tank superiority in numerical terms, and feels that, though they may be comparatively obsolete, you can't rule out surprises. Hitler dismisses this, as he does concerns about Soviet manpower reserves. He's also issuing orders this week. On February 6th comes his Directive 23, which is for further operations directed against the British war economy, specifically by increasing the amount of merchant shipping sunk. By doing this, Germany can bring about the collapse of British resistance in the foreseeable future. He does point out, though, the least effect the bombings and sinkings have had on the British so far is on their morale and will to resist. He figures sinking merchant ships is more important now than sinking warships, and by greatly reducing their active tonnage, not just Britain will be affected, but also British operations in Europe and Africa. On the 3rd, German battlecruisers Scharnhorst and Gneisenau passed through the Straits of Denmark for a commerce-destroying expedition in the Atlantic under Admiral Lutyens. On the 8th, they approached the convoy HX-106, but do not attack, since its escort includes the battleship Ramillies. Hitler has ordered that no risk of damage to his ship should be taken if it can be avoided. In other naval action, on the 2nd, the carrier Formidable, heading to the Mediterranean to replace the Illustrious, sends its planes against harbor facilities in Mogadishu. The Illustrious sails for the U.S. for repairs. The repeated German attacks against it have failed to destroy it, though it is wounded. There are other attacks that fail this week, and they are Japanese. They do advance and capture Wucheng on the 2nd, and they also cross the Hong River and attack Shangcheng. Then around the end of the week, all the Japanese that have been attacking in the region the past 2 weeks unite and attack Fangcheng. They take heavy losses. Within a few days, the Chinese have retaken everything north of Xinjiang. So the Battle of South Henan is not a Japanese success. And here are a few notes to end the week. On the 8th, the Germans and Bulgarians agree on detailed arrangements for German troops to enter Bulgaria en route to attack Greece. That same day, the first German troops and supplies bound for Africa leave Naples. Also that day, the Lend-Lease Bill passes the U.S. House of Representatives 260 to 165. Now, it is not law until it can clear the Senate and be signed by the president. But this is a major hurdle overcome. Also this week, on the 5th, Generalleutnant Joram Appel is sent from Germany down to Tripoli.
I thought this was... Is this Photoshop? It looks Photoshop.
Actually, no, he's not. But it is Yoram's birthday on the 5th, and it's my show, so I figured I'd say happy birthday.
Okay, it's one of the employees. Oh, I see the... I'm blind.
Yoram, and get a picture of him in a German uniform, right? There's one there now, right? Yeah, that's pretty funny. It's my show. Okay. Well, anyhow, that is the end of the week, with the Japanese stymied in China, the Indians stymied in East Africa, and British and Commonwealth forces anything but stymied in Cyrenaica. Stymied is a really good word. And that plan...
It's a rarely
in North
used
Africa.
word. I like it.
Well, it was brilliant, you know? Race across the desert against both time and the elements. That's great stuff. And one step from failure. So many things could have easily gone wrong. They didn't. And so it's not a foolish venture. It's a brilliant one. And there's often a fine line there. We've seen that before several times. Most notably, the German armored thrust through the Ardennes. That could have so easily gone wrong, but it didn't, so it's brilliant. But both of these succeeded in large part because no one saw them coming. But that should be a lesson of modern war everyone should remember. Expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see how they colonized Libya in the first...
No, that's depressing. That was week 76 of World War II, February 8th, 1941. Rommel to fix the bungle in Benghazi. Another week of things being set up for the future, but nothing really to talk more about. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to hit that like button and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.